Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel, and today we will discuss the situation in Ukraine on the 1st of June. Today we have some updates, so let's discuss them one by one. Today we will start from Liman area. This is our Liman area. This is town Liman. This town is under the Russian control. You see that the Russians have updated their map. Now they're showing us a lot of territory that is under their control. We are not going to discuss the area between Liman, Yampol and Raigorodok, this triangle. There were no updates from this area. Today we are going to discuss this small bag. The bag that located between Studionok, Alexandrovka, Yarova, Svetogorsk, Bogorodichne, this area. This is the last bridgehead that Ukrainians has under their control. Yesterday we discussed that the Russians established control over the town Yarova. This is the town. And a few hours ago I received a message that the Russians started their offensive operation towards Svetogorsk, from Yarova towards Svetogorsk. So let's take a look at this map. This is the position of forces in this area. The red one is the Russians. The red territory within the blue border is the territory that the Russian has under their control. It's Alexandrovka and Yarova. And according to the West sources map, this territory is not under the Russians, but according to the Russian sources, this town is under Russian. You see Yarova and Alexandrovka. The territory with the yellow color is the territory where the Ukrainian forces are located. So there are forces in towns Studionok, Pasika, in Sosnovo, in town Svetogorsk, in Bogorodichne, and so on. The territory that located here in this area is not so important for us, and today I'm not planning to discuss this. Today we'll discuss this situation. We know that the Russians during the previous week and this week were trying to attack Bogorodichne from this area. They were trying to establish control over Bogorodichne for one reason, because there is just one bridge, and this bridge is located in Svetogorsk. This is the bridge. This is the only safe bridge, the only bridge that located in this area, and the bridge that is not destroyed. And the Ukrainians are using this bridge to support this area. So the Russians were trying to attack towards Bogorodichne just for one purpose, to encircle this territory. I think that they have possibility to bomb this bridge, but they're not doing this. It's like their tactics. They're encircling the forces, but they're keeping one road for evacuation. So the Russians were attacking this area, but they haven't established control over Bogorodichne yet. Yesterday we discussed, and we have some information, that the Russians established control over Yarova. So they were attacking from Dobrushovo, from Novoseliivka, and they established control over Yarova. And a few hours ago I got the message that the Russians started their offensive operation from Yarova towards Svetogorsk. Svetogorsk is a very powerful area. There are a lot of Ukrainians. If we are talking about this entire bag, there are around 1,000 Ukrainian soldiers, somewhere like that, 1,000 plus minus few hundreds. So the Russians started their attack towards the heart of this area, Svetogorsk, the area where I think that the most Ukrainians are there. But Russians decided to attack exactly this area. So let's discuss why did they decide to do like this. Why they're not attacking to Studionok and from Alexandrovka towards Sosnovo, so trying to push the Ukrainians from this area on this side of the river. And the answer is that this bridge, the only one bridge that in this area, is very close to the Russians. I don't think that they are able to establish control over Svetogorsk like in one attack or something like this, but I think that the Russians want to make some kind of push, because we know that all these forces, they communicate between each other, and as soon as the forces in Studionok and Sosnovo understand that the Russians attacking the only one place where they can cross the river, I think that in this case we're going to see the same effect as we saw in Liman. As soon as forces in Liman understood that they might be encircled, they just dropped their position and moved towards Raigorodok. I think that we see the same picture. The Russians start to attack Svetogorsk, and as soon as these forces understand that there is a very big risk of being encircled, they will leave this area and move towards another bridge. More than that, I still haven't received any information about another attempt of attack over Belagorovka, but I think that to enforce the Russians' positions, they will do this evening, and it will be like two roads of attack from this area, from Izum bridgehead towards Belagorovka and from Yarova towards Sverdlovsk. This is the plan. This is the plan. This is the Russians' plan. I think that this plan is very, very dangerous for the Russians. This plan is very nice for in case if the Ukrainians will be shocked by this attack and will get in panic. Of course, they will leave these positions and they will cross the river. And I'm sure that the Russians have enough of artillery power to push them and to make them and to force them escape this area. But this attack is very dangerous for the Russians because there are going to be a lot of losses. There might be a lot of losses from the Russian side. So, why is that? I'll explain to you. This is our Liman area. This is Izum in the north. This is Liman. You see, I think that you can recognize this town. This is Liman. This is Belagorovka. This is Sverdlovsk. This is Yarova, Sosnovo, Studionok, Alexandrovka. This is the area we are talking about. You see, this is the area. And the Russians, so we can say that this is our bridgehead. Yes, this is our battlefield. This is Belagorovka. This is Sverdlovsk. This Alexandrovka is under the Russians. Studionok is under the Ukrainians. And this is Yarova. So the Russians are moving from Yarova towards Sverdlovsk. And they're planning to establish control, or at least to cut this road, this bridge. Yes. So the thing is that this bridgehead, this we can say, this coast is on the hill. You see, so we are like on the ground. So we are exactly right now in this area, and somewhere here, right here. So this is the bridge. You saw this is the bridge. This is the bridge, and this is the place I'm like watching from this area. So this is it. You see that this is a very big hill positions, right? So it's very perfect and nice position for the Ukrainians, if they have some position here, to establish fire control over any forces that are moving from Yarova. So we see like the Ukrainians are here, the Russians are moving from this side. They're moving towards the Sverdlovsk. They're trying to scare the Ukrainians in this area. They're trying to push Ukrainians to start evacuation using this bridge, or maybe there are some pontoon bridges along this river. So maybe they're trying to cross, but it doesn't matter because the Ukrainians are here, and they can cover and establish fire control over this field. This like low land. And this is the perfect position to cover the Russians. More than that, this is not just a hill just in this area. You see this hill everywhere. So this is like a high position, like a hill. And the Russians are trying to attack from the lowland. This is the reason I told you that maybe it's much more better to push Ukrainians. Because if you're pushing them, it's almost the same situation, but in this case, at least you are not like offensing in a hurry mode, like very fast offensive operation, and you have time to push and to break Ukrainian spirit. So this is the reason why the Russians are trying to attack through Belagorovka. So because Belagorovka is on this side of the river, there are on this side of the map is Izum area. So the Russians are using this forest. They're trying to use this forest. This forest is also on the hill. They're trying to use this forest and to attack Belagorovka for one purpose: to get here and to attack and to establish fire control over this bridgehead. See that this hill, and this will allow the Russians to reduce their losses. So this is the reason why it's so important to attack from both sides. Now let's move towards Sverdlovsk. But before we discuss Sverdlovsk, I would like to make one stop. I would like to make a stop near Belagorovka. If you remember, I told you when we discussed the situation about the Russians' attempt of establishing the second front line, another front line in this area. I told you that the main idea of the Russians were to establish control over this bridgehead. And let's take a look at this bridgehead one more time, just for better understanding what were they planning to do. This is our Belagorovka. This is the Belagorovka. This is the back. Remember this back where the Russians were bombed heavily. This is the area where they built their pontoon bridge. They crossed this river somewhere here. They were hiding in this forest, and they were trying to establish their position right in front of these hills. You remember that we were discussing those hills, and we saw that they were bombed heavily. This is the back. This is the Belagorovka. The Russians, as far as I remember, they were managed to reach somewhere here. Their position was here, and they were trying to establish control over these landfills. Remember those landfills? It's very big landfills, and they were trying to capture this area to establish control. This is them, and from this area they would be able, and we can say that if they were able to do this, we would see the cauldron, the Lysychansk agglomeration cauldron, without any doubts and any questions. So this is the area where the Russians were fighting for, and they were defeated. I'm not sure that they dropped their attempt to repeat this operation one more time. I'm not sure that they're planning to use this back one more time. I think that they will try to do something else to find another solution. And more West experts are saying that the Russians are planning to attack Seversk. If you remember, this is the other place where they were prepared their bridgehead. You remember there are a lot of destroyed vehicle as well, but it's very difficult because Ukrainians, they have a lot of nice position in Seversk and Serebryanka. So they're keeping this river, and they're not allowing even a flight to cross the river. So we'll see what's next. But now let's talk about Severodonetsk. More news from Severodonetsk, and according to the latest update I have, the Russians managed to get the Severodonetsk power plant. This is the Severodonetsk power plant. I'm not saying that they established control over this territory. I'm saying that they can see this like in front of their eyes. So we can say that the Russians established control over the territory. If you take a look at the Russian sources map, it will be more better to understand. You see, so this is gray dots. It's like gray line, gray zone, and they're moving toward these stats, toward this power plant. So let's update this map for better understanding. So let's compare and update. So we can say that the Russians are somewhere here in this area. More than that, we remember that according to the Russian sources, they managed to establish control over the Mitolkine. So Mitolkine is also under the Russian control. So this is the territory that under the Russians, we can say like that. But the question is, what is their next step? Because if you remember, during my previous video, I told you that it is not so difficult to establish control over this part of the town, and it is very difficult to establish control over this part, and more than that, it's very difficult for the Russians to cross Seversky Donetsk and to attack Lysychansk in the front. So this plan, like attack in this direction or in this direction, is not just a suicide operation. It's impossible. It's nonsense. So let's discuss why this operation is impossible. And for this purpose, we also need to get to our map, Google Earth map, and this is it. So if we take a look at this map, you're gonna see that the Russians are here. This is their tats, and you see again these hills. See that Lysychansk is on the very big hill. So you see that it's very difficult to establish control over these hills. More than that, you see like big landfills on the side of Lysychansk. All these landfills is real like proportion in this map. So if the Russians want to attack like on the ground, moving towards these hills, and they try to cross, it's like the place where they will leave their souls. It's impossible. So you see that these hills are very big, and if we take a look at the Severodonetsk from Lysychansk, you see that you can see this town like on your hands, like in front of you, you can see entire town. So it's very nice position to coordinate the fire, to control this area, and so on. More than that, these hills. Let's take a look at these hills. Yeah, these landfills. Of course, if we take a look from this position, We know that the modern warfare you have like drones and so on, but if you have your eyes on such hills, it's always good to have such positions. So this is the reason why it's impossible to establish control over the Lysychansk from the Sverdlovsk, and this is the reason why the Ukrainians decided to retreat, because there is no need to keep Sverdlovsk when there are so many forces. And what is the purpose if you can establish your position on this hill and there is no way how you can cross the river, at least in front? So now with this we are moving to our famous Ustinovka-Toshkovka area. This is the key region of attacking towards the Lysychansk agglomeration. Today I got information from one of the Russian sources. They're saying that there were battles, heavy clashes near Ustinovka and near Mirna Dolina. I haven't got any confirmation of taking Toshkovka. We know the situation in Toshkovka. Toshkovka is split in 3 parts. This one, the west one, the east one is under the Russians. The block by the name Chechirova is under the Ukrainians, and the territory between these 2 towns, this one is the gray zone. So, and we got the news that there were heavy clashes near Mirna Dolina. As far as I understand, the Russians want to establish control over Chechirova, but they can attack in front. So, like attack this, it's very lot of problems. More than that, because Ukrainians have some control, they can attack using artillery every attempt of the Russians. So that's why they decided to attack towards Ustinova and to get to Chechirova from the back, so to do some hook. And that's why I understand there was a report there were battles near Dolina, because the Ukrainian forces in Dolina were moved to attack, were forced to attack the Russians in their flank. To tell the truth, there is no good way how to establish control over Lysychansk. There is no good way, there is no perfect solution for this, because Lysychansk is a castle on the rock, on the hill. To tell the truth, it's very difficult operation. And now this is the reason why we start this discussing Lysychansk from Belagorovka. Now you imagine yourself the value of Belagorovka and how Ukrainians were happy to save this position, because if the Russians were able to establish control over Belagorovka, we can say that Lysychansk is done, is gone, and these guys are done. But the Russians couldn't do this, and for now Lysychansk still have some supply and reinforcement, and they're saying in media that there are a lot of problems, but if you have at least a road, that means that you can still keep your positions, at least in Lysychansk. So let's take a look at this map and try to understand why Toshkovka is so important. So this is our famous Toshkovka, and this is our famous Ustinovka. Nizhnya, this is Toshkovka. The Russians were moving towards this. You see these trenches. They were forced first to these trenches on the hill, to cross the trenches. There are now another hills, and next we see this block, this area that is under the Ukrainians. You see these Ukrainians, this is the Russian managed to establish, this is the gray zone. This gray zone is under fire using the fields, no problem. From Gorskaya, the Russian moves to the Ustinovka, and there are heavy clashes for the Ustinovka. And what's next? Okay, Ustinovka is also on the lowland, and it won't be very easy to move towards the Lysychansk because it's on the hill. But as we discussed, there is one important thing regarding the Ustinovka, this forest. So the Russians are able to cross the Ustinovka, they establish some bridgehead in this area, and now send them, their commanders, among this forest. There will be hidden in very nice position, and from this area they will be able at least to send commanders, snipers, scouts to reduce Ukrainians as much as possible, and to prepare their bridgehead to attack the suburbs of Lysychansk. And if we are talking about this area is under very heavy fire, and it will be much more difficult to get this forest. More than that, we see that at least this forest is still protected by the Ukrainians, because Ukraine is still in Sirotina, in Voronov, in Borivske, so it's not so easy to get this forest and to get as close as possible to Lysychansk, and the only one way is towards from Toshkovka, from Ustinova, to get somewhere here. So this is the area where I suppose the Russians should cross the river and get the forest. And if we take a look at this map one more time, we're gonna see this area. This is it. This is the place. This is it. So nice, perfect place to cross, very easy to build, to maintain. More than that, they will be able to attack Voronov Borovsky from the back. So this is the plan, and according to the information I have, Russians is out of timing, but we'll see what's next. We'll see how they're planning to solve this issue. More than that, if they're able to establish control over Toshkovka, we can talk about the Girsky cauldron and Zolotoy cauldron. So Lysychansk is very powerful and important town because of the fact that this town is on the hill. The hill is everywhere, so it will be very difficult to establish control over this town, no matter the site you're planning to attack this town. Another important area is of course Vrubovka, so just let's take a look on this Vrubovka for better understanding how the Russians are planning to take Vrubovka. It's not so difficult, just the forest between Kamushovaha, a small hill. Of course, won't be very easy to cross, but I think that Vrubovka is less. There are less difficulties to take Vrubovka than to take Toshkovka. And if the Russians are able to establish control over Vrubovka, it will give us a cauldron in Girsky Zolotoy area. And that's it about the important battle for today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, and enjoy your day. Bye bye.